What is the date? 17th to order tonight. If we'd all rise for the pledge. Dolly, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And would you like to call the roll?
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Present.
Councilman Abbott?
Here.
Councilman Cahill?
Here.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Here.
Town Attorney Genesi?
Present.
The first agenda item tonight is open to the floor. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Is there anyone who would like to speak? We've got a few members in the audience tonight. Everyone is sitting patiently awaiting, I think, a couple of resolutions here, so we'll get started. We have some minutes to be considered for approval. I move to approve the August 3rd, 2023 minutes as submitted by our town clerk.
Second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Abstain.
And I would move that we approve the August 10th workshop minutes as submitted by the town clerk.
Second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
And who reviewed the bills this month?
I did, and I found the bills to be in order, and I move that we approve the bills as submitted by the Director of Finance.
Second.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye. I move to approve the prepaid warrants as submitted by the Director of Finance.
Second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
And I would also move that we approve the purchase orders as submitted by the Director of Finance.
Second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Our next item on the agenda is a resolution to transfer up to $45,000 from the Parkland Trust Fund to cover the remaining costs to complete the Recreation Center Pickleball Tennis Court Rehab Project. Paul, do you want to say anything about this?
Yeah, this is a project to rehab the pickleball courts and tennis courts over the Recreation Center. The 2023 budget included a $100,000 transfer from the Parkland Trust Fund. That was an estimate of what the project was going to cost. Looks like the final costs are actually going to come in around $144,000, including the fencing around the courts. So we'd like to transfer another $45,000 from the Parkland Trust Fund to finish up the project.
Okay.
So
thank you.
moved.
Second.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Patty, I have a question. What's the balance in the trust fund?
The Parkland Trust Fund is actually funded by Parks and Recreation fees that are charged to new home builds. So it's built up over the years. And it can be used for park improvements, or some recreation center improvements qualify as well if they're within parkland.
I understand, I just wondered what the balance was at this point.
It's right around $1 million. Yeah, there's quite a bit of money sitting there.
And this is one of the uses that it certainly is intended for. Councilman Abbott sort of jumped on it, but I wanted to say there are several people in the town, lots of people in the town who will think this is money well spent. I know that there has been a real desire to have more pickleball courts. So I want to thank our Commissioner Parks and Rec for taking on this project. The next is a resolution to approve the debt management policy. And again, Paul, I think you spearheaded this. Do you want to talk to it?
Yeah, I can give a little background on this. So the debt management policy is designed basically to provide some guidelines for decision-making on debt and long-term capital planning. I mean, it's about a 10 or 12-page policy. There's a lot of detail in there, but one of the key things it does, it sets some limits to the amount that we can borrow. There are statutory debt limits, which is 7% of your average assessed value for the past 5 years. But the internal policy sets lower limits for aggregate debt, general purpose debt, and water pollution control-related debt, which in our case would be the wastewater treatment plant and the entire sewer system. So I think it's a key policy that goes hand in hand with long-term capital planning, and it just helps us keep an eye on the ball when it comes to total debt outstanding and what we can afford.
Thank you, and I think since we're taking on some rather large projects in the very near future,
Yeah,
this
good
is,
timing.
this is certainly a good policy to adopt, and also I want to thank you for working on it. I know that we did a fund balance policy maybe a year and a half
Right.
ago, and we're just bringing things into compliance with recommended practices. So thank you for doing that.
We will. Thank you.
I would move that we approve the debt management policy.
Second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
The next item is something that we've talked about quite a bit. We had a workshop last week on it, and I would move to declare the Webster Town Board as lead agency for the purpose of conducting the environmental review seeker for the Fairlife project. I'd like to read a couple of the things from this resolution. Whereas the project has been classified as a Type 1 action defined by seeker, and whereas the Town of Webster Town Board sent a letter in Part 1 of the full environmental assessment form to other interested agencies and involved agencies, and to commence the coordinated review of the project, whereas a supplement to the Part 1 of a full assessment form was received by the town from the applicant on July 11th, and a subsequent letter and updated electronic copies of the coordinated review materials were redistributed to interested and involved agencies. Responses from interested and involved agencies to the town board's request to serve as lead agency were requested, and each of the potentially interested and involved agencies have agreed to or raised no objection to the Town of Webster Town Board serving as the lead agency for the project within 30-day calendar days as mandated. Therefore, the Town of Webster Town Board hereby establishes itself as lead agency for the environmental review, under seeker in its regulations for Fairlife project.
Second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
The next resolution involves purchase of some land in Webster for the creation of the Herman Road Forever Wild Forest. And I am going to read much of that resolution as well, but before I do that, I want to thank someone who's in the room tonight, actually, Ben Wisniewski, and all that partnered with you on working on this project. I think that you certainly played a key role in us obtaining this property and working us through the process and the grant process and all of that. So thank you for all your efforts on that.
He's done a lot of work on it.
Yes, he has.
I want to acknowledge that as well. Also, just remind the board that I believe it was June of last year, we authorized the purchase of it in terms of setting aside the money and
And have we
obtaining the financing for it.
have we closed on it? I know that was something that was sort of hanging out there.
Correct. No, that's something that the board is going to approve
Okay,
tonight.
okay, great. Resolution.
Hopefully in the near future.
Okay. Resolution to authorize purchase of 27.8-acre parcel located at 760 Herman Road, Webster, tax ID number 064.01-1-17, for creation of Herman Road Forever Wild Forest. Whereas the Town of Webster has the authority under the New York State Constitution to acquire property for any purpose provided by law, whereas Gary Wood is the owner of 760 Herman Road in the Town of Webster, which property is 27.8 acres of residential vacant land adjacent to the existing Whiting Road Nature Preserve. Whereas the owner of the wood parcel is willing to convey said land to the Town of Webster for public purpose for a purchase price of $285,000. And whereas the Town of Webster received an award of $270,089 to purchase the parcel for the creation of new parkland in the form of a community forest pursuant to the terms of New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Community Forest Conservation Grant. Whereas the DEC grant only covers 90% of the cost, Webster resident Mary Dombovi, to commemorate her late husband Michael A. Johnson, previously donated monies to the town to reimburse the town for the remaining cost of the wood parcel, including all costs thereof. The DEC has reviewed all post-DEC grant submissions and has provided clearance to the town of Webster to close on the property. The town of Webster has completed parts 1, 2, and 3 of short environmental assessment form and considered any possible environmental impacts. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Webster resolves the purchase of 27.8 acres is properly classified as an unlisted action under seeker. The town supervisor or his designee are hereby authorized to execute any document reasonably necessary to effect the purchase of said land. The name of the community forest shall be the Herman Road Forever Wild Forest, conserved by Gary E. and Judith M. Wood. The town board offers its formal thanks and appreciation to Gary E. Wood, Judy M. Wood, Mary Dombovi, and her late husband Michael A. Johnson for their conservation efforts in the town of Webster. And that's my motion.
Second.
Well, before you pay, I want to acknowledge,
Did I leave
too,
something out?
Yeah, well, I just want to mention that there was a negative declaration
Yes, thank you.
under seeker.
I was going to say Councilman Abbott would have caught me on that.
Yeah, I know he was, but
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lynn?
Aye. So along with thanking Ben Wisniewski tonight, I also want to express our deep appreciation to Mary Dombovi and her family. She's been a wonderful steward of our open space. I did attend the ribbon cutting for the Michael A. Johnson Trail a while ago, and certainly Hal Harris is here tonight, and Ron, you're here for another item, right? Yes, so Hal Harris is here. Friends of the Webster Trails have worked on that, and we're really very grateful to all the community members who've taken part in this. Thank you. The next item is a resolution to consent to the placement of traffic control device by the County of Monroe Department of Transportation pursuant to authority granted by Sections 1651 and 1652A of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law at the following locations: a northbound stop sign on Whiting Road in Shoemaker, and a southbound stop sign on Whiting Road in Shoemaker. And that is my motion.
Second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lynn?
Aye. And before we move on, I also want to acknowledge that there's a couple people in the audience who were concerned with this resolution. I will personally say this is a long time coming. That has been a very dangerous intersection for years. As the town is growing, and that's often a good thing, but it brings some problems. Traffic has increased. There's a blind spot on that road, and there's been too many accidents. So this is something that the county is going to do, but we have to take the resolution to just make sure there's a good paper trail for that. There have been a number of traffic studies over the years, and one more time, I have to thank Ben Wisniewski and getting some of his neighbors and working on, I believe you petitioned the county to make this happen, is that correct?
Another neighbor, Leah Bronte, who drafted a letter to the county to ask for a study.
Right.
I helped put together a change.org petition that many people looked at online.
Yes.
And about 400 people signed.
I
Well-
would say you had quite a few people sign
Yes.
this petition, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for taking ownership of that. You know, there's oftentimes when citizens criticize what we do or we don't do, and that's a very easy thing to do because there are many things that that they feel we're not doing properly. But it's another thing to bring up something that you see as an issue and to follow through and actually help us through that process. So I really want to commend you for doing that. Thank you.
No, you don't have to.
And then we have an entire list of items for recycle from the Cable Access Department. I would move that we declare the list as
Set forth.
set forth in our agenda, and I'm sure will be recorded properly in the minutes, because Dolly, you always do a great job of that.
And it's on the written agenda, too.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
right.
I would move that those items are dispersed for recycle.
Second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye. I love it. We've got VHS players and Panasonic mixers. Looks like Karen's been cleaning house of some outdated equipment,
The
so.
only thing missing on here is a Technics turntable.
Hey, I've got a couple of betas, and I can donate to the town to be recycled, if somebody wants to do that.
Well, actually, there's an electronics recycling coming up
There is.
in September, yes.
Oh.
Perfect.
So you'll be able to drop that off
Oh,
then.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been a short meeting. Is it okay if we do that? Usually, we reserve the comments for the beginning, but we've been here 17 minutes. Come on up to the podium, tell us your name and address, and let's hear what you have to say.
It's right,
Oh,
to
right
your
up there.
ma'am.
It's just so that everyone can hear you.
Real quick.
That's okay.
I've lived here on Whiting and Shoemaker Road, northwest corner of Shoemaker and Whiting, and we have had so many accidents on our property at that corner. And the last time our lawn people were here, and he was riding on a little spray cart and got pushed onto the top of the fire hydrant in his cart. He was not hurt at all. The first time I appeared here was, the second time I appeared before the town board about this issue was 2004. So I can't remember when the first time I came here and talked about the traffic, and it's gotten worse. So I'm totally in favor of doing this someday. I mean, I'm the first one that goes outside to see the people that are hurt before the ambulance gets there and the trucks get there, and it's very unsettling to see the damage. We luckily have never had horrible damage to our property, but there's been damage to the cars, people, and we almost lost our lawn person this last accident. So I'm very grateful that you're doing this, and I hope that people observe it, because it is a racetrack going from south to north on Whiting Road. It's terrible. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you for coming
Yeah,
tonight.
I didn't tell my name.
It's okay, we've got it. Thank you. Let's see. Paul, do you have any updates or any comments for us? Anything important to share?
Just like to say that last Friday, Paula Friedman, a longtime member of the Finance Department, retired. Though she is going to come back on a part-time basis starting next week, so we gave her a week off. We're actually cutting down on the overall man-hours in the Finance Department. We're going to try Paula part-time and not going to replace a full-time position to see if we can get it done and save a little money. So looking forward to having her back and wishing her well.
Good, I'm glad she'll be coming back. She's been a
Yep.
great asset to
yeah.
the department. Josh?
Well, our office has been busy with all things Fairlife as we navigate the review process for that project. Our 2 summer interns did wrap up last week, so I just want to say thanks to them. Hopefully they had a rewarding experience. We certainly enjoyed having the extra assistance around, so just want to say thank you to our interns.
Great, thank you. Councilman Abbott?
Parks and Recs, very busy with their summer programs. Happy to get this resolution for the pickleball courts done. It'll make a lot of people happy. There were many people asking to have that done.
Yes.
Highway is very busy with chip sealing and storm management work.
How long does chip sealing extend into the?
It'll go
fall?
probably till the end of September,
Okay. When it's time for leaf season?
just about.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Councilwoman Wynn?
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I just want to say congratulations to Owen Morris. He invited all of us to attend his Eagle Scouts, and congratulations for him to making that rank. And also to, there's going to be a Jazz Fest this weekend, so come out and support your business improvement district in Webster Village. And I always encourage people to come out and support the library and the museum that we have in Webster. And thank you all for being here today.
Well,
Councilman Cahill, I
don't have
think
to
she
mention the
stole your
Jazz
thunder.
Fest. She stole my thunder. But it's going to be a big weekend in the village of Webster this weekend with a jazz festival. Well, there'll be thousands of people there. And if you have the opportunity, it's quite an event, very enjoyable, so consider it.
And a heads up that Main Street will actually be closed
Yeah,
off.
it
in
will
both-
be,
Yes,
yes.
but that's not a problem. If you attend, that's a good thing.
It's a very good and safe thing.
Yes. Attorney Genesi?
Well, most of the departments are keeping me very busy. As Josh said, we're doing a lot of everything Fairlife. That seems to be the major one, but there's other ones that are going on as well. But things are moving along.
Good, thank you. Dolly, supervisor always saves you for last, so I will too.
Okay. So we're very busy in our office preparing for school tax collection. Told today that tax bills are going to be mailed out on August 30th, no later than August 31st. If a taxpayer does not have their tax bill within that first week in September, please contact our office, and we will either email you a copy or mail out another hard copy.
Great, thank you. And I think that that's going to be it for tonight, so I will close the meeting.
There you go.